It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have been machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
Welcome to Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, each and every day on LRN.FM from the beautiful studios of Freedoms with an S, freedomsphoenix.com in Phoenix, Arizona, where it's nice and rainy here. You know, my wife is down in Tucson. Her family, her parents came down for the holidays and to visit with us, so they I guess they figured 120-something miles away would be better. They from State College, Pennsylvania, have a lot of their friends come down in winter in Arizona, and they went down there with them. So she's down there visiting, so they'll be up for Christmas. But they're at Tombstone right now. I was talking to her on the phone. They're at Boot Hill, looking out over the valley there. It's a very nice scenery. They make Western movies out of that. You know what I mean? So they're getting a dose of Arizona weather where it's snowing and blizzarding and everything up where they're from. They're down here going, yeah, Arizona, very nice. Well, it's nicer than most places, but I tell you, if we're the nicest place and we're more free than most places, and we can exercise our rights more here and so on, and it's still this bad, damn. It must be really bad where you guys are. So this is one thing I want to do today. We're going to just yak it today. I don't have a guest. I have Thomas come in, the sales manager here. He had an interesting episode last night with the Phoenix Police, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But it was interesting that it was right after we had left the Wrigley Mansion here at the Arizona Biltmore. There is the Arizona Biltmore. It's like, it's got all the stars. You know what I mean? It has a very nice place there. It's been there for a long time. And right next, like a football field away, up on a rise there, a low mountain, a big hill. On top of that is what is called the Wrigley Mansion. Now, the Wrigley Mansion is a beautiful home, that a big mansion they turned into a club and restaurant and bar and so on. And it's, you have a lot of great events there, and we use it for a lot of different opportunities to have some fun. And some of the activists worked at, this is one thing I got to share with you guys. All you activists know this. Throughout the 90s, what happened was we had a lot of activists, a lot of freedom-oriented individuals that were in the media. Let me tell you how this works. When you have a generation, just like what we have awakening now, a lot of you guys over the last few years, young people come aware of what's really going on. Fundamentally, what the problem is with the world. It's always somebody rules you. Where you have the most productivity is where you have the least amount of control. You can see it in things like the internet. You got spontaneous order. You could never centrally plan Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and then it grows into, becomes a victim of its own success. And I'll give you an example. Facebook now is starting to do face recognition on all your photos. I'm looking. I got an old photo of someone. This is where it's going. Now, we have it up on Freedom Phoenix. We'll talk about it a little bit. But imagine this: you got a high school photograph of someone. You put it into Facebook instead of searching for somebody's name. You put the picture in there and you say, "Yeah, go do a facial recognition on every photograph on the planet and go find this person for me." Well, the bad guys are doing it. Might as well let the good guys do it. And that's one reason why I have. If you look on the bottom of the front page of Freedom's Phoenix, every page of you go to the bottom and you'll see my home address. Now, let me tell you what happens. Freedom's Phoenix is more clandestine. Here, the workshop, nobody knows where it's at. I mean, you kind of get an address. It doesn't have a storefront. Even if you knew the address, you wouldn't find it anyway. You got to be invited. You got to be brought over. You got to say, this is where it is. It's the Honeycomb Hideout. Now, local politicians have been here and police and everything. I mean, it's not like, the bad guys don't know where we're at, but, it's just, we just don't want to be interrupted. I mean, it's not that it's secret. It's just, everybody wants to come. Oh, I just wanted to come. No. If you're not, it's a workshop. If you're not here working, you're in my way, So either you're doing something, you're helping somebody do something, or you're just bothering somebody. So that's pretty much how we've operated. That's why we're so productive. Well, this is what happened. I come home, it was Monday or Tuesday, and I come home, and I pull up, and I was having some repairs done on my car, a local mechanic doing clean out the engine, do whatever, oil change. So my daughter, they're keeping overnight. She drives me home. And as we pull up, there's a big conversion van there, kind of little RV van. And there's two guys, and they're waiting on me. So they see us pull over. They're getting ready to leave. They came because, my daughter's like, and I go, it's all right, go. And I took my gun out. I have a little sidearm that I have, a little 9mm Kel-Tec, just in case everybody wants to know. And, because if something happens and I'm out there and I'm advocating freedom and firearm ownership and all that kind of stuff, and something happens and I didn't have my firearm with me to protect myself and those I love around me, how much crap would I have to put up with, But I'm a peaceful guy. I'm like, hey, man, I just avoid the problems. That's your biggest thing right there. But I have a firearm that I keep in my car. Well, I didn't want to leave it there, so I had it out, and I'm carrying it. So I get out of the car, got a firearm on my side. I got my 9mm Beretta, my Galco holster there, and there's two guys standing there, and here comes this guy with a gun in his hands with my computer and so on. And I go to my daughter, and it's all right, baby, you can go. So she leaves, and these guys are, hi, Ernie Hancock. Yeah, how you doing, man? Well, they recognize me. They're from Montreal. There was a gentleman that had his cousin is going to San Francisco for a visit with some family, and they're going down to Baja in Mexico, down to, Cabo San Lucas and so on. They're going to be wintering in Mexico. They have some friends down there. They said, yeah, all this news you hear about, the drug war stuff, that's up on the border with the U.S. because they got this drug war thing going on. What do you think was going to happen? But down here, it's all good and sunshine. You come on down. Well, they're going to San Francisco. They were in Flagstaff, and they really wanted to come down and see the workshop. And they said, come on, man, it's only a couple hours out of it, so it adds a half a day to our travel. We want to go see Ernie. So they came down. What's the only address that they have? They went down. They couldn't find the workshop because they listened to the show, and they know everything. I pretty much tell everybody everything. And if you listen to the show long enough, you know everything about me. Where's your chickens, And so he came in. He said, oh, you need some help getting stuff in. We take it inside. He goes, ooh, Harvey. And he recognizes my little toy poodle I inherited from my son. And he knows all this stuff. Hey, Harvey. And I'm going, yep, you listen to the show. So we talked a little bit, and my wife, Donna, had just pulled up, so I took her vehicle, and we went down to the workshop, and they got to meet with some of the guys here. We had 4 or 5 guys who are down here doing different stuff. So we sat down and chewed it for a little while and got to know each other. And it was very interesting, the story that they tell. They're from Quebec. They speak French. And they were first made aware of me from a speech I gave on the West Capitol lawn in Washington, D.C. at one of the Granny Warriors had an event there. And what they did is they came, they saw that video, and they go, wow, man, that guy had it going on. And I tell you what attracted them. They said, everybody's so negative about what's going on. And it's just, where's the pot? Where's the love? I mean, where's the solution? Where's the next? I mean, there's going to be some bad stuff happening. So they started going to Freedom's Phoenix, started listening to the show, and they wanted to come visit, and the love was shared. I'm really not afraid of people just coming to it happens a lot more than you think. Because I'm just, the bad guys know where I live. Might as well have some good guys know. So we're going to talk about, just being open about this kind of stuff. And what happened at the Wrigley Mansion last night on Bill of Rights Day. We had Gary Johnson was there. It'll be interesting. Stay right there.